Now, Kunvina, the Manpower, the recruiting firm, has said that the manufacturers in Rayong's eastern seaboard, as well as those in Lamphun, need additional labor to support up to 40% of the increased overseas orders, especially now that 6 industrial estates in Ayutthaya and Pathum Thani are flooded. So we would like to bring on the line with us Kun Simon Matthews, who is the country manager Thailand of Manpower Group. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Simon, please explain to us your plan to organize a fair or events to help those affected by the flood or the ones who needs to find the new job.
Certainly. Before I do that, perhaps like everyone else, my thoughts and the people go out to the people who have lost their lives, their livelihoods, their homes in this disaster. As what we're doing, yes, there are a lot of operations outside these effective areas, and we have set up recruitment hubs around the Ayutthaya area to help with people who have lost their jobs or who don't have a job, to move them to other areas such as Rayong or in Korat.
Right.
But what we're also finding is a lot of the factories, even though they're closed, are still waiting to see before they do anything, because Thailand still has a low unemployment rate, a skill shortage. So some of our clients in even that area are wanting to keep their staff fully employed, even if at home. So once the operation starts up, they can have them back, because they want to get back to production as soon as possible. And if they don't have their workforce readily available, that would add further problems to them.
Simon, what kind of jobs, both skilled and unskilled, are needed in factories nationwide?
Yeah, most of the large numbers are what we call in the operators. We call them in the, and these are semi-skilled people working on the factory floor, whether that's operating machinery, doing packaging, etc. So that is still in demand. We're short of probably around about 2,000 people at the moment in that various area. And other companies that we speak to are also, still suffering from a skill shortage or a skill mismatch.
Right. Simon, could you give us a brief summary of the situation right now? The industries that have been flooded, what happened to the workers in the industries? Aren't they any more employed by the companies?
No, as I said a minute ago, most of them are still a lot of them are still employed by the companies, whether that's on full pay or whether that's 75% without laying the people off. Because even, I know several factories, even in the flooded areas, have protected their facility, and so once the water subsides, it'll be quite quickly before they can get up operation. And obviously, if they lose their workforce to other areas,
right,
they've got to restart rehiring, get the people up to productivity, which will be a further impact. So what we're seeing at the moment is most of the factories are really waiting to assess the situation. Hopefully the flood water will subside as soon as possible, then they can make a decision on how quickly they can get back in operation.
So now, which other parts of Thailand do they need more laborers, and could that substitute the destruction that was done to the flood-affected areas?
Yes, I mean, as I said, we have seen production increase in the eastern seaboard, and in Korat and in Lamphun. Though there are some factories even that haven't been affected by the floods, but their their parts come from the affected areas. So some factories, even though they haven't been affected, have had to cease production or delay production because they're short of parts for the production line. But there are in other areas in the electronics and in some automotive that are still got large amounts of orders and needing additional staff to manage that.
Well, how do you see the labor transition from the flood-affected areas to the safer zones?
Yeah, as I said, a lot of the operators that work in the factories, their home is actually not in either Ayutthaya or in Rayong. A lot of it is coming from the northeast. So they are also quite available and actually do move from jobs to jobs around the industrial parks anyway. So the transition could be smooth. I think the concern is, if there is a big movement from Ayutthaya and the 6 effective industrial parks, what we'll find is that when production starts, there will be a staff shortage in that area. And again, how easy is it to get the people to come back? So that's why we're still seeing a lot of people are keeping their employees on full pay or 75%, even if they're based at home. But how long they can sustain that, and how long these operators in particular that like overtime, shift allowance and other allowances are prepared to stay just on a base salary,
right.
We need to consistently review the situation day by day.
All right. Thank you very much, Simon, for joining our program today.
Thank you very much indeed. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Energy Minister has informed the Cabinet meeting that 276 petrol stations have been affected by the floods so far, prompting him to order oil companies to reserve oil products by another 11 days to 29 days. Energy Minister Pichai Nariptapan stated that this is to ensure that there is enough oil for consumption in the country. Of the 276 petrol stations affected by the flood, 34 have resumed their normal operations, and 242 petrol stations have to continue to shut down their services. The Energy Minister mentioned that some 110 LPG retail stations have closed down their service since the floods, and only 30 stations have been able to resume the service. 48 NGV stations have been affected by the floods, while 18 cooking gas facilities have also been closed down. Pichai has ensured that there will not be a shortage of cooking gas, while admitting that the disruption in logistics is a major problem.
Now, the conflicting warnings about the severity of the flood crisis is causing panic buying by people on food, water, and other necessities in Bangkok. The disaster has severed road and rail links, destroyed crops, and shut down some production of food and drinking water, disrupting the ability of supermarkets in the capital to restock shelves. Wachari Wimuk Tayon, the Director General of the government's Internal Trade Department, stated that there are shortages of eggs, bottled water, pork, and milk formula. The flooding has hampered logistics, and many distribution centers are flooded, where the department plans to let retailers import products from Malaysia and Singapore. Wachari said the government may cut import taxes on some affected goods, while the Deputy Prime Minister Kittiratna Ranong said soft drink makers will be asked to shift production to drinking water to alleviate shortages. Prime Minister Yingluck has urged state agencies and companies to close offices to help alleviate traffic congestion, and told residents in affected areas to move to other provinces if they have other choice. The Mass Rapid Transit Authority of Thailand, operator of Bangkok's subway, closed 70 of its 140 entrances, but the subway is still operating as normal.